Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the courtesy. Congressman Tim Johnson represented East Central Illinois in various forms as a state representative for 27 years, followed by a distinguished period of over a decade in the United States Congress. Tim, as he was known to everyone, was an amazing individual. He was bronze tablet at the University of Illinois, which is a top 2% of graduates. He was also Order of the Coif at the University of Law School, which I believe is the top 1% of graduates or some such. Tim Johnson, I am lucky enough now to represent quite a bit of his, not just the congressional district, but also his former House of Representatives district when he was in the Illinois General Assembly. Tim was everywhere. There was no one that was everywhere like Tim Johnson. I hear stories to this day about how Tim one day walked halfway through a bean field in the mud just to shake a farmer's hand while he was out there planting. Everywhere you went, there was no harder worker than Tim Johnson. He'd take the phone book and he called 100 people a day, 100 people a day from his district. Didn't matter if they were Republicans or Democrats. When he was in Congress, he continued that tradition and called 100. I mean, he must have called hundreds of thousands of people over a 4-decade career. On September 11th, he was in the speaker's chair conducting the debate in the United States House of Representatives when our nation was attacked. Think about the historic significance of that moment in time. And Tim Johnson was in had the speaker's gavel conducting debate. He was my friend. He was my mentor. You always, every time I went walking with Tim, and that's what you did, and I couldn't always keep up for obvious reason, but you had to walk if you wanted to talk to Tim, and so we'd walk, and every time I walked, I always came away knowing something I didn't know before, and always going, wow, that's one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard in my life. But Tim was truly one of a kind. After he retired from Congress, he went to our local community college and was elected to the Parkland board. I'm fairly sure top vote getter, and just had an amazing career. Sadly, he was killed last year. Succumbed to injuries from a car accident just under about a year ago. Anyway, I would ask that we rename a portion of I-57, a portion that he represented both in the United States Congress, but also, I think, during his years and years and years in the Illinois General Assembly as a fitting memorial. So with that, I'd ask for favorable consideration. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence.
Is there any discussion? Senator Bennett, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
I would like to, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to echo Senator Chapin Rose's comments regarding Tim Johnson. He really was one of a kind. He was, part of my district was what he had at the time as well. He was my congressman at one point, but he was truly one of a kind where he was out and around with the phone books as Chapin was talking about, but he never knew a stranger. He was there. The phone books that he would use, he would reach out to people talking about issues, and he would ask each one, what can I do for you today? Or what's the issue in your area? And he would make notes, and he would get back to his office to make sure they would follow up with these issues. When he was on vacation, he would continue to make phone calls to residents in the area over and over again. I've heard a number of stories in my district how people would reach out to him, but he would be reaching out to them. Truly remarkable in a number of ways. Thank you.